Hello, welcome to my Joe 2 podcast. I'm Andrea Lopez, and we will be jumping right into the podcast. The podcast that I will be talking about today is about my Humboldt Park community. The Humboldt Park community became a part of the city officially in the year 1869. It has been 153 years since that happened. We are going to jump into more history about my community because although I've been living here for about 3 years, I don't know much about it. Humboldt Park used to be mostly marshland before they started to build famous landscapes architecture Jen Jensen's offices at the park in 1851. People started to really move into the area after the Great Chicago Fire in 1871 because there was a lot more space and it was low cost, which was great for people to move into after the tragic incident. In the coming decades, a lot of different people started to move into the area. Some of these groups were Polish, Russian Jews, and Ukrainians. In the 1950s, the community started to include Puerto Ricans, and from what I can see, since then, the diversity has significantly gotten bigger for sure. Although it's important to note that the transition for Puerto Rican people into the community was not easy because the community was mostly Caucasian. So it was definitely not an easy transition to move into a community that was mostly white people. Division Street was very important in the Puerto Rican history in Chicago. On June 12, 1966, a riot happened during the Puerto Rican Festival. The reason for it was a young Puerto Rican man was shot by the Chicago police, and this brought the community in uproar and brought them together, and the riot lasted for up to 2 days. And after the riot, a lot of communities developed organizations, especially in my community, to help tackle issues like housing, education, and employment. Another event that took place in my community would be the tragic incident that took place on December 1st, 1958, at the elementary and Catholic school Our Lady of the Angels, which sadly took the life of 95 individuals, 92 children, and 3 nuns. It was a very tragic incident because the school had received approval just 2 weeks prior saying their school was up to code, which it might have been at the time, but it was not prepared for a fire. Now, when we look at the demographics, the 3 main groups of people that are living in Humboldt Park are white with 20.3%, African Americans with 38.5%, and Hispanics with 29.1%. After the Puerto Ricans began to move into the community, I believe that helped create a change and flow of people coming into the community. Now, all you see are people from different nationalities, races, genders, and characteristics in my neighborhood. When I was a young child, my father used to take me on bike rides to Humboldt Park during the summer. It was beautiful, definitely. I always got to see all sorts of local animals and people doing activities around the park. It was definitely something that I enjoyed doing, and it got me more involved in my community and with just getting to know everything around where I live. I would sometimes go to festivals held at Humboldt Park, like the Puerto Rican Festival, which is very lively and also brings the community close. I would describe the environment in my community to be welcoming, resourceful, artistic, and a work-driven community. I am not actually quite familiar with the local government in my community, although I think I should so that maybe I can help bring some kind of change into my community. It's definitely great to know your local government because that way you can stay in touch with local news, with local events, local organizations, and it helps you become a part of your community. So I think I'm greatly missing out on a lot of opportunities here. So if I were me, I would start doing a little bit of more research and trying to see if I can do something for my community. Well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode, and I will see you on the next one.